Earl Nightingale was a student of Ernest Holmes. In his wonderful book, he quotes Ernest all the time. And I would recommend, if you want to go on the internet and put in The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, it'll come up. And there is a book, maybe we'll get it for the bookstore, where they have the entire transcribed version of as a book and a CD of him delivering it. And remember Earl Nightingale's voice? How many remember that? He was wonderful. Up until Paul Harvey, or before Paul Harvey, he was the #1 radio personality in the world. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a law of mind that doesn't care what you plant in it. I think one of the great realizations that we need to have as metaphysical students of religious science of mind, is the realization that the law of mind does not care how we use it. If there is care involved, the care is where? It is within us, not outside of us. Everyone say, the power of an infinite thinker is unlimited. See, and your choice is to either think from condition or think as an unlimited, infinite thinker thinks. I don't care what's happened up to this point. I don't care why or who was involved or whose fault it was. I now set something new in motion, and the new begins with me, not with anyone else. If I want everybody else to be new, I'm going to give them a model. How many know people that are sitting around waiting for everybody else to get their act together so they could be happy? You know what? If everybody got their act together, they'd go out and find a bunch of people who didn't have their act together to hang out with. Why? Because they are affirming, everybody in my world doesn't have their act together. Okay. And guess what they demonstrate? You want to know what's the cause of every single thing that happens in your life? It's one of the greatest lessons I had to embody. I did not like it. Dr. Fenwick Holmes told me once, the only problem we have with religious science is you don't always like what you discover. And I went through one of those days. I was in my late 20s with Dr. Fenwick Holmes, and I was studying Dr. P.D. Ouspensky's work along with the Science of Mind textbook, and all of a sudden I saw it. And I realized that I had been studying it for about 8 or 9 years, and I had never, all it was an intellectual exercise. Wham! It hit me. I am cause to everything that happens to me. I am the cause. Not somebody else. Not my past or my parents or yesterday. I am cause. Everybody say, I am cause. Now, go forward with that, not backwards. Doesn't matter if you didn't know it yesterday. Ignorance of the law does not justify its violation. Go forward with it and understand there's a power within you that knows what to do and how to do it. If you let go and let it do it, why give up the power that you are to a bunch of nonsense that says you're less than what you are? Why do that? See, a lot of times people will come to our teaching and they'll ricochet right out of here because they have to give up their stories. They have to give up their reasons why they don't have, can't be, and can't do. There's no reason except you insisting on what you say you don't want while you're accepting you want it. Your challenge, my challenge, is to know, and we know that we have too long submitted ourselves to the government of race mind. How many know people that are moaning, groaning, and complaining about the government? You know any of those people? Okay. Okay. They're moaning and groaning and complaining about the physical government, but they're giving in to race mind government. Why not let go and let something higher and healthier and happier move forth as you? Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty I'm free at last. See, that's what you can affirm if you know the truth of yourself and let go and let it be true as you, not somebody else. To believe it's necessary to suffer is nonsense. To believe in the necessity for suffering and doubt and fear and confusion To believe in the concept of limitation is absolute nonsense when you know the truth of yourself. There's too many people out there living at the level of race mind. They're living at the level and the consciousness of want and limitation. And what happens is their idea of want and limitation unfolds as their experience. If you don't want it anymore, get a new idea of you and then find out how that new idea of you thinks. And if you don't know how to do it, get in class and learn how to do it. Dr. Ouspensky pointed out that everybody who is studying this teaching needs a teacher. Ernest Holmes, from the time he started this till 40 years later when he let go and let it become the Church of Religious Science, to the day that they found him with Sri Aurobindo's Life Divine in his lap and he moved on to the next experience, he never stopped studying. The more I know there's more to know. That's the triumphant life in action. I master what I need to master, which is in front of me, so I can master what I can master as I move down the line of life and discover something new and wonderful and beautiful, instead of just doing the same old, same old, same old, same old. People who just exist, as Will Rogers said, are in a grave with both ends kicked out of it. That's called being in a rut. How many have been in a rut at least one time in your life? Okay. How many ready to get out of some kind of rut this morning? Okay. How many really ready to get out of it? Okay. How many ready to let go and let yourself be the best you can be in action and give up the reasons why you can't be? And you can't do, and you can't have, and you can't experience. What you're looking for is looking for you, and guess what? It'll find you if you let go and let it happen. Why? Because there's one mind. You see, our concept of life begins with our divine uniqueness. It's what Reverend Lacey talked about this morning. Brilliant, beautiful talk this morning. Get the CD before you leave. Our divine uniqueness. Everybody say divine uniqueness. Divine uniqueness. See, you want to be happier than you've ever been? Find your divine uniqueness and let it come forth. You want to be unhappy? Spend your life running around trying to be everybody else. Conforming to everybody else, thinking like everybody else. Earl Nightingale, that we shared this morning, this foundation that we're talking with this morning, one of the things he stressed over and over and over again is the problem with most people is they're followers following followers around. When you find religious science, the interesting thing about Dr. Ernest Holmes, he says when they convinced him let this become a church and to organize it, he said, you've got a problem on your hands primarily because you're teaching everybody who walks through your doors how to be a leader and you're asking yourself to lead them. Okay. But I'll tell you what, it makes the experience I have as pastor of this church for 35 years a whole nother category of being what I do than other ministers that are around. The challenge we have is to understand that we are teaching everybody who walks through our door how to be a leader, a self-leader. To make up your own mind and be responsible for your own decisions. As Dr. Robert Betzer and all the other teachers have taught, and Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, great book, The Power of Decision.